Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating story that's going to totally redefine what productivity actually means. We're talking about the 5 a.m. secret. It's this incredible strategy showing exactly how flipping your schedule can radically change your life, taking you from just barely surviving day to day to actually thriving. Seriously, if you've ever felt like you're grinding away but just getting absolutely nowhere, this one is for you. Will this be my life forever? Man, that was the exact question haunting Thomas. He was a 32-year-old night security guard. Every single morning at 6 a.m., totally drained from his night shift, he'd walk home and just watch the rest of the world wake up. He's seen people head to their office jobs, kids going to school, while he's just heading off to sleep. It's such a crushing feeling, right? Working so hard, but feeling like you are just completely paralyzed in place.
So, let's set the stage with Section 1, Trapped in the Night, looking at Thomas's starting point.
Before we get to his incredible transformation, we really need to understand where he started. There's this massive contrast between just surviving and actually building. Thomas felt completely stuck. He was surviving on this tiny salary, living in a cramped one-room apartment. He worked the 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. shift and slept from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And look, he wasn't lazy. He was walking miles every single night on patrol. But the core problem was structural. He was literally asleep while the whole world moved forward, which left him feeling like he was living his entire life backwards. Every door felt closed because, well, he just didn't have the time or energy during normal hours to do anything about it.
Then came the turning point, and it was sudden and deeply emotional. His mother actually collapsed from severe exhaustion and stress. Rushing to her hospital bed, she gave him this simple but devastating plea. She said, "Do not waste your life like I wasted mine. Find a way." That didn't just make Thomas sad. It sparked this desperate anger inside him. Standing outside that clinic in the quiet dawn, he made a hard choice. He decided he was finally going to break free from this dead-end cycle, literally no matter what it took. Which brings us to Section 2, the 5 a.m. secret, a completely new framework. So how on earth do you find a way when you've got no money, no degree, and zero free time? Well, on a bus ride home, Thomas ended up talking to a guy named Mr. Chun. He was this highly successful businessman who was wide awake, reading, and just totally at peace at 6 a.m. Mr. Chun introduced Thomas to what he called the magic hours. He explained that the hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. are when the world is just entirely quiet. There are no notifications, no distractions, no demands from your boss or your family. It is the one window where you can build your future completely undisturbed while everybody else is still dreaming. To stop living his life backwards, Thomas realized he had to radically shift his routine. His old life was basically sleeping the entire day away. His new life, that required a dramatic pivot. He decided he would sleep just enough to survive right after his shift, waking up at 11:30 a.m. so he could actually exist during daylight hours. But the real game changer was dedicating that 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. window entirely to building himself up before going to sleep or starting his grueling shift. He was just done letting his circumstances dictate his schedule. You have to look at the math behind this strategy because it is staggering. If you're sitting there thinking, well, 2 hours a day isn't enough to change my life, look at how it scales. Just 2 hours a morning adds up to 14 hours a week, 60 hours a month, and get this, an absolutely astounding 730 hours a year. To put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of 3 full extra months, working months, just to build your life, all while the rest of the world is literally asleep. It completely destroys the excuse of, I don't have time. Moving on to Section 3, the 2-hour system, and exactly what to build. Because let's be honest, having the time is one thing, but what do you actually do with those 120 minutes? Well, Mr. Chun outlined a very strict no-nonsense system. Here's how it breaks down. Step 1. Hour 1 is entirely dedicated to building skills. You spend this hour learning something that actually changes your earning potential. For Thomas, that meant devouring free Excel and accounting tutorials on YouTube. Then, Step 2. Hour 2 is to build your body and mind. We're talking 30 minutes of exercise, maybe walking or running to keep your physical vehicle strong, followed by 30 minutes of reading or planning. You're basically fortifying the mind and the machine. Okay, let's jump to Section 4. 3 rules of success, focusing on unbreakable habits. Now, knowing the system and actually executing it are 2 completely different things, right? To make this work, there are 3 unbreakable rules. These are basically the glue holding the 5 a.m. secret together. First up, no negotiation. You have to commit to waking up every single day without excuses. Yes, even on weekends. Second, sleep by 9 p.m.
Or if you're on a modified shift worker schedule like Thomas, you protect your sleep window fiercely. You literally cannot cheat your rest and expect to succeed. And third, push through 90 days. Brace yourself, because that first week is going to be pure physical pain as your body protests the change. You just have to push through it until it becomes a habit.
This leads us perfectly into Section 5, the 90-day transformation, a brand new trajectory.
So Thomas accepted the challenge and dove headfirst into this grueling 90-day sprint. What's super fascinating here is how accurately his timeline maps to human habit formation. Day 1, absolute agony. He dragged himself awake, eyes burning as he watched tutorials in the dark. But check this out. By day 20, his body naturally adapted. He was actually waking up at 4:58 a.m., 2 whole minutes before his alarm even went off. By month 2, using just that first hour of the day, he had completely knocked out 3 online accounting courses. And the massive payoff? By day 87, he used his new Excel skills to completely reorganize his warehouse's inventory system. Management absolutely noticed, and he was promoted to a daytime office job, making double his old salary. No way, right? But it worked.
Naturally, his coworkers were amazed. When they asked him what changed and how he suddenly looked so different and sharp, Thomas didn't chalk it up to luck or some hidden natural talent. He just simply said, "I am changing my life 2 hours at a time." It totally demystifies success. It's not some magic lottery ticket, it's just a quiet, methodical, brick-by-brick build in the dark.
All right, final section, Section 6, your 5 a.m. challenge. Let's pivot away from Thomas's story for a second and talk directly to you about your future. Because you have the exact same internet, the same tutorials, and those same early morning hours available to you. So this is your 90-day challenge. 90 days to stop merely surviving your circumstances and to actually start building a foundation for a completely new trajectory.
Here is exactly what you need to do tonight to put this into practice. First, put your alarm all the way across the room. You want to force yourself to physically stand up to turn it off at 5 a.m. Second, decide exactly what skill or idea you're going to build in that first hour. Don't be vague here. Pick a specific certification, a language, or a business plan. And third, protect your 9 p.m. bedtime. Cut out the endless late-night scrolling. Seriously, wasted evenings are the biggest enemy of successful mornings.
As Thomas so powerfully demonstrated, success isn't some distant finish line you just magically cross one day. It's a daily practice. It is a routine that begins in the absolute quiet of the morning, long before the world even has a chance to tell you what your day should look like. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Your future self is waiting on the other side of that alarm clock. When it rings at exactly 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, are you going to hit snooze and wonder 5 years from now why absolutely nothing ever changes? Or will you wake up, step into those magic hours, and finally take control of your life? The choice is entirely yours.